असङ्गोऽहम् 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 पुनः पुनः सच्चिदानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः नित्यशुद्धविमुक्तोऽहम् निराकारोऽहमव्ययः भूमानन्दस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः नित्योऽहम् निरवद्योऽहम् निराकारोऽहमच्युतः परमानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः शुद्धचैतन्यरूपोऽहम् आत्मा रामोऽहमेव च अखण्डानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः प्रत्यक्षचैतन्यरूपोऽहम् शान्तोऽहम् प्रकृतेः परः शाश्वतानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः तत्त्वातीतपरात्माहम् मध्यातीतः परशिवः मायातीतपरञ्ज्योतिः अहमेवाहमव्ययः नानारूपव्यतीतोऽहम् चिदाकारोऽहमच्युतः सुखरूपस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः मायातत्कार्यदेहादि मम नास्त्येव सर्वदा स्वप्रकाशैकरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः गुणत्रयव्यतीतोऽहम् ब्रह्मादीनां च साक्ष्यहम् अनन्तानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः अन्तर्ज्योतिस्वरूपोऽहम् कूटस्थः सर्वगोऽस्म्यहम् सर्वसाक्षिस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः द्वन्द्वादिसाक्षिरूपोऽहम् अचलोऽहं सनातनः सर्वसाक्षिस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः प्रज्ञानघन एवाहम् विज्ञानघन एव च अकर्ताहम् अभोक्ताहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः निराधारस्वरूपोऽहम् सर्वाधारोऽहमेव च आप्तकामस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः तापत्रयविनिर्मुक्तः देहत्रयविलक्षणः अवस्थात्रयसाक्ष्यस्मि अहमेवाहमव्ययः दृग्दृश्यौ द्वौ पदार्थौ स्तः परस्परविलक्षणौ दृग्ब्रह्मदृश्यं मायेति सर्ववेदान्तडिण्डिमः अहं साक्षीति यो विद्यात् विविच्यैवं पुनः पुनः स एव मुक्तः स विद्वान् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः घटकुड्यादिकं सर्वं मृत्तिकामात्रमेव च तद्वद्ब्रह्म जगत्सर्वम् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः ब्रह्म सत्यं जगन्मिथ्या जीवो ब्रह्मैव नापरः अनेन वेद्यं सच्छास्त्रम् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः अन्तर्ज्योति बहिर्ज्योतिः प्रत्यग्ज्योतिः परात्परः ज्योतिज्योति स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योतिशिवोऽस्म्यहम् ज्योतिज्योति स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योतिशिवोऽस्म्यहम्
Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you. Please come. Let's seek the grace of the Almighty. Pray together. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutam gamaya sahana vavatu sahano bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Together, we offer our humble salutations to the Almighty, who also has the divine names Jitakrodaha, Veerabahu, with Shraddha, Bhakti, Prapatti. O Lord, we seek your grace, your mercy, your blessings, your benevolence, your kindness, your love, your strength, your forgiveness. O Lord, bless us with the divine qualities of Shraddha, Bhakti, Gnana, Vairagya and Prapatti in a much more enhanced proportion. And this is only and only to have the first-hand true experience of thy true self in our very own hearts, the Aparoksha Anubhuthi. We beseech in you again and again to bless us with this rare privilege of seeing you ever shining in our hearts, and we completely be detached and out of ignorance and become out of ignorance. Our humble salutations to the entire Guru Parampara. Om Tat Sat.
Param
Today, by the grace of the Almighty and with the blessings of the Guru Parampara, we are on our Divine Discourse number 426. On the 22nd of May 2025, Swasti Shri Vishwa Vasunama Samvatsara Uttarayana Vasantaruto Vaishakamasa Krishna Paksha Dashamyatito Purvabhadra Nakshatra Vishakamba Nama Yoge Bhadrakarane. On this auspicious day of Thursday and the auspicious time of the evening, we all once again reiterate and reaffirm this solemn oath and declaration which we have taken. Naham karta hari preranaya hari prityartham. The gateway to knowledge and the root of all ignorance is the only fact that we have considered ourselves to be the doer, completely ignoring the consciousness which is enlivening this body, mind, senses conglomerate on a second to second basis. Now, the true knowledge is an understanding that whatever we are doing is in the light of that consciousness. Naham karta, I am not the doer. Hari karta. Hari is the consciousness, is the doer. So, O Lord, may I be established in this knowledge. Whatever comes to me in my life as my prarabdha, I look upon it, all happening through this body, mind, senses, as a sheer witness. Make me be established in this knowledge and attain self-realization. Our humble salutations to the Guru Parampara once again. Om Tat Sat. Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you once again. Just let's still look at what's happening on the... okay. Yeah. Okay, now I understand that outstation seekers are also experiencing some buffering. Okay. Anyway, but one good thing is, post the session, we don't see any buffering. It all gets corrected. It's properly recorded. So one can always go back and revisit and understand. But nevertheless, just keep... telling me as we progress. And another idea is you can come back, as we discussed in the previous session. Just come back a few minutes and see at what stage you are comfortable. Okay, come. Okay. Now, how much we have studied is not important. How much we have understood is important. So in that context, what we need to really see is, just now as I told in my prayer, that's all what is ignorance and that is not what is knowledge. But being there with that knowledge or being established in that knowledge is the very crux of this entire spiritual learning. See, first of all is we should be so much grateful that we are the chosen ones for self-realization. This is very clear. There are so many around us only, in the family. They are seeing what we are doing, where we have made this as the goal of our life, or one of the most important endeavors in life. But you ask them, you tell them to listen for 10 minutes, they'll run away. So this knowledge is predestined for only certain souls who have reached a certain level in their life by way of sadhana. Ishvara anugraha deva pumsan advaita vasana. It's only by Ishvara anugraha. This advaita vasana means the desire to acquire this knowledge comes to us. And we have got it. And now we are going through the process. So here there is many a times a slip between the cup and the lip, which we all have experienced. So we have to be careful. And again, it's not that we are doing this, it is that Lord and Lord alone is doing this. And as we have said, one writing on the wall, there is nothing other than that one aikyam advitiya Brahma, that one consciousness. There is nothing else other than this. Okay? Then what are we trying to do over here? We are saying that we are not this body, not this mind, not this person. I am that which is enlivening all this. This is now where we are currently trying to understand Aparoksha Anubhuti. But let me tell you, from verse 42-43 onwards, Bhagavan Shankara takes a U-turn. He completely takes a U-turn. You were going north. Now you suddenly said, my direction is going south. Why? He says, go to the main principle. There is only one factor which is in the entire universe. So how can the body, the senses, the mind be different from that Atma? See, there it is. Atma and Anatma are one and the same. So, why this is done? Where is gnana? That means then everybody should be gnanis, right? If you go by that logic. Okay, I know Anatma, I know that this is my body, this is my, I am a person and I am doing everything. That is what a common person would think about and do. So now there, what is the difference between, now we call them as ignorant. What is the difference between them and us? The difference is that they have considered themselves to be the doers. They have considered themselves to be these limited beings. But by that divine knowledge, I know that I am nowhere in the picture. It is that God and God alone, or that Paramatma and Paramatma alone, or this consciousness and consciousness alone, which is doing everything. For me to come out of that ignorance, which we are in the common crowd, now that differentiates. Now you have elevated yourself. And from there you see, look back, you see and you say, oh, that was my ignorance. But now with knowledge, I know that that ignorance is nothing but this true knowledge again. See, you have to make this shift. Once we get established over there, and then you will see how he takes a turn, and then he covers up the whole thing. And he says, everything is Brahman and Brahman alone. Okay? So this is very critical, very crucial and paramount. So we have to use our intellect, but at every point say that it is that God's grace and grace alone which is making me understand, which has given me an opportunity to get this knowledge, and stay put with this. Okay? So now I'll once again take you from the series, the first series, verse 12 to 16, where we say, Vichara soyamidrishaha. This is the way of enquiry. Now we have started our journey. He first teaches us. First know what to ask. What questions you are going to ask? Now, if you are conducting an interview, you make your list of questions, isn't it? So I'm going to ask this question, then to another candidate this set of questions, these questions. So asking questions, in fact, many a times the right assessment of understanding the opposite person is by knowing the depth of the questions they ask. That's the right way of understanding. To what extent they have understood? Are they asking the top layer questions, which means they're still at the surface? Depending on how deep their questions are, you know to that extent they have already gone within. So, why I'm repeating this is, one, you will see that whatever we are learning is something which indirectly we have already learnt. One. And two, this knowledge has to be repeated again and again, again and again. Remember, it is not only this, whatever be your age, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, it's not only for these number of years. The first 20, 30, 35, 40 years goes without any meaning in our life. We're just trying to follow the mad rush, and with whatever we are preconditioned, we live our life. Very rarely there are some souls who get this knowledge at a much earlier age of 20s and 30s. So this is not only this number of years, it is millions and millions of years. So that has to be wiped. When something is very dirty, what do we say? No, by just one wash it won't go. You have to wash it twice, thrice, 4 times. Keep rubbing, keep rubbing. The amount of sludge which has accumulated is extremely high. Okay, so we'll quickly take a recap, and you should get established. My purpose is established. I'm not interested in how much we study. I'm only interested in how much we have understood and how much we have realized. That is what is important. That is the biggest independence we have over here. Otherwise, normally curriculums, they go at a particular rate. Okay, in this particular month we have to complete these many chapters. We are not bothered whether they have understood or not. No. So I personally take a feedback with whomever students are around me and in touch, and understand where they stand, and accordingly modulate the speed, modulate the method. The purpose, we have to understand this. Okay. So, vicharaha soyamidrishaha. This is the way of enquiry. Verse 12 to verse 16. So, verse 12. Who am I? How is this world created? Who is the creator? What is the material cause for this? Now, by now you must have understood the answer for everything would be ekam advitiya Brahma. Keep saying that, your answer will always be right. Okay, now verse 13. I am not this body, I am a bundle of elements, nor the senses. I am something else other than that. What is the answer for this? You are inquiring. Ekam advitiya Brahma. Verse 14. Clay is the material cause for mud pots. So too the one immutable subtle existence is the material cause of all these. Mainly two, he is now bringing out 2 things. One is the desire and the second is the ignorance. Now this ignorance and the desire in us, which is, why desire? Desire makes you to act. And that action, backed by ignorance of I am the doer, puts you on the wheel of karma. And that karma, papa and punya. Papa gives you bad experiences and dukkha. Punya gives you good experiences and sukha. So ignorance and desire comes out of this subtle existence, which is the material cause of these two. Now who is doing that? Again Brahma. Now verse 16. I am indeed the subtle, the knower, the immutable reality, the witness. I am undoubtedly that Brahman. See there, here he declares again. You got it? Okay. Now the second series, from verse 17 to 21, 5 verses. Tayor aikyam prapashyanti kim agnanam atah param. But still they consider these two as one. What greater ignorance can there be than this? These two meaning body and Atma. Atma and Anatma you consider as one. Still, having known all so much, they consider like this. Yes, that is how a common human being would consider. So he says, can there be a greater ignorance? So now he starts again, verse 17. Atman is one without parts. Body has got several parts. He's trying to differentiate now the deha bhava and the Atma bhava. Verse 18, Atman is inside, controller, body is outside and the controlled. Verse 19, Atman is auspicious, pure consciousness, body is impure and inauspiciousness. Just close your eyes and allow this to go deep within you. It's a kind of an hypnotism which is happening over here. It's being designed that way that your brain gets that rewiring. I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this. Verse 20, Atman is the illuminator and always pure. Body is illumined and it is inert. Verse 21, Atman is eternal and is the nature of that ever existence. Body is transient and non-existent. Non-existent, sorry. Now, going towards the next series, 24 to 28. Again 5 verses. Naham deho hyasadrupo gnanam ityuchate buddhaihi. He says, I am not this body. So far I thought, I say this is my house, I say this is my car, this is my dog, this is my mobile, this is my shirt. I say this, but I am not all this. I am not the dog, nor I am the car, nor I am the house, nor I am the mobile, nor I am the shirt. I am not this body. I am only using it. I am not this body, the unreal. This the wise call as real knowledge. See now, after having understood in the third series, he has understood now. This the wise call is gnanam ityuchate buddhaihi. Buddhaihi means the wise. Gnanam. This is true knowledge. Ityuchate, they say, call it as. Verse 24, I am Brahman, ever equanimous, tranquil, and nature of pure existence, consciousness, bliss. I am the formless. Now this is the characteristics of our true nature. Otherwise, what is our understanding? I am a male. I am of height so and so. My texture of the skin is so and so. I am a father to so and so, mother to so and so, son of so and so, daughter of so and so, brother of so and so, sister of so and so, native of so and so. That is what we have understood. But now he says, I am the formless, I am the changeless, without any blemish and undecaying factor in me. And next verse 26, I am devoid of all diseases. See the big upgrade we are getting. If I have diseases, I'll clearly see it is for my body. I am not this body. How will that disturb you? Tell me. If you are in true knowledge, I am using this body. It has become old. Like I have an old shirt. There are stains on it. Okay, it is on my shirt. I am going to give up this shirt one day or the other. I am not this shirt. Same way I am not this body. So I am devoid of all diseases, without any appearance, without modification, and I am all pervading. And verse 27, I am without any qualities and actionless. I don't do any action. Eternal and ever liberated. I am immutable, no change. So then verse 28, I am stainless, immovable, endless, ever pure, ageless and deathless. These are our true nature. Okay, in this way, now we started our understanding and We completed verse 32 in our last session. The fourth series, Katham syad dehaka puman, verse 31 to 37. Okay, now it starts over there. Now let's understand what are they saying over here. So in the verse 31 they say, the one supreme self, well known as I alone exist due to its subtle nature, it cannot be considered gross like the body. How can this self which is beyond an embodied person be called as a body? Katham syat dehaka puman. How do you say that this is the body? So this is 31. And then 32 he says, I am established as the seer, the subject, and the body is situated as the seen, which is the object. See, certain principles are the drashta, drishya. So now he considers, just like you can see your car, you can see your house, you can see your dog, you can see your pen, you can see your mobile. These are all the seen objects. But you as the seer is the subject. So in the same way you can see your body. Now this will be explained more in the subsequent verses. But here he is only talking. This body is situated as the seen, the drashta. Anything which can be seen, heard, smelt, tasted, touched. These are the 5 senses we have. All these perceptionary experiences means they are not you. You are the subject and all these are the object. So he uses the principle of the drashta and the drishya. The witness. Now when we are saying I am the seer, now where are we stuck now? When I say yes, I am the seer, okay, tell me, you what you have told me is right. I have elevated myself. I know that I am the seer. And this body, mind, senses is all seen. Even the world is seen. Which means that is the drashta, anatma, and I am the atma. Now there again there is one more layer which we have to cut. That I, we are using the aham bhava I. Not to use that. That is the root of all ignorance. I is not there at all. So once you get that understanding, where am I? What have I done? From where did I come? This I is not there. So give up that I and say, oh, whenever I get that I, substitute it, replace it with that pure consciousness. So when I say I am seeing, just bring in the consciousness in me is seeing. That unmanifest consciousness through this manifest body is seeing everything, is touching, tasting, smelling and hearing. It is talking, it is walking, it is giving, it is taking. So all these actions with the body, the sense organs which are doing and the organs of actions which are doing, it is nothing but that is being done by the consciousness. If you stick to this one principle, we have crossed over. Otherwise what we'll be doing, we'll be saying, I have to learn this, I have to learn this, I have to learn this. I have learned that text so many times. Now I can say this by heart. That's not going to help you. Because all that, where it is going to your mind. And now what we want the mind to understand? We want the mind to stand under, not understand. Stand under in the sense, there is something above it, above you. What is that? That is the knowledge. Meaning what? There is no I over here, that aham, what we so call, that me as a person which I thought, it is not there. It is that one consciousness alone which is in and through driving everybody. This one aspect. So here he uses in this word verse 32, he says, drashta and the drishya. So how do we look at the drashta? The witness. Who is the witness? Not I. Consciousness is the witness. And all that is seen is the drishya, the object of experience. So this way, now he talks about verse 32, which we have learnt. Now, so when he says in this way, then how do you say that the body and the consciousness is one and the same? Whatever you have seen, the seer and the seen is different, isn't it? Applying that principle, he says, Katham syad dehaka puman. How do you say that it is the one and the same, that seer and seen cannot be the same? In the same way, the witness and the body which is seen is not the same. So these are the arguments where you have to convince your mind. There is ignorance over there. So this light of knowledge has to come and fall on the mind where there is darkness, and then you will see ignorance being driven out. Okay, now we come to verse 33. Aham vikarahinastu deho nityam vikaravan iti pratiyate sakshat katham syad dehaka puman. New concepts come in again and again. Something or the other new comes in, and his only intention is how I can portray this concept to the sincere seekers in the right manner. That is the only aspect what they are talking about over here. Okay, now let's understand this verse 33. I'll tell you the meaning, word by word meaning, just for our understanding. Normally what happens is it doesn't come in a sequence, it goes haywire, but I'll be telling you the entire meaning at one go. Aham, I. Which I? Not the aham bhava I, the self. Vikarahinatu, hinastu. Meaning, truly I am free from all modifications, all changes. Deha nityam vikaravan. The body is constantly subject to change. See, we see people many a times, we go to some functions or weddings, and there you see them after 10 years. My God, you cannot recognize. And you say, how much you have changed in all aspects. So, deha nityam vikaravan. Nityam deha is vikaravan. It constantly keeps changes. Iti pratiyate sakshat. And this nobody need to tell you that body changes. Oh no, I need to confirm from somebody. I need to do some more research that body is under change. No. This is directly experienced. Katham syat dehaka puman. Then how can the person, that is that self, the drashta, be the drishya, which is the body? See, this is you are only what we are trying to get over here. You are the drashta, the Atma within, and everything else is the drishya. Now, as we dwell, we'll be able to dissect it further. Now we are only at the level of the body. Then he does not stay quite over here. He takes us to the Sukshma Sharira also. Sthula Sharira, we are at that level. Okay, so putting everything together, I am indeed that changeless, whereas the body is always changing. This is directly experienced, my dear. You don't have to ask anybody. You don't have to do any research. You have been seeing your own self, what you were when you were a child, a boy, then a youth, middle-aged, old-aged. You have been seeing yourself. You are seeing yourself. You are seeing others also. So now he powerfully distinguishes between that Atman and the body. He talks about the constant change, vikara, modifications. of the body, and on the other hand, this Atman is that unchanging witness of all these changes. And for this we have direct experience. I remain the same while my body changes. Shift yourself. Just like any dress you have bought. How is it when you wear it for the first time? Crisp and perfect in color. Everything is absolutely to the mark. Now let it go for one wash. Then you will see, that crispness is gone. That texture, there is already some fading sensation on the texture. Allow it to go for another few washes. By the time it comes to the 10th wash, then you will say, no, it has lost its luster. Let me not wear for exclusive functions. Then you grade it to the next level of functions you want to. And after that you will say, it's not worth wearing outside. Let me wear for my indoors or whatever. So I remains the same while the body keeps constantly changing. So how can it be the same thing? And here he says, see, I'm not talking about any philosophy. It is your direct experience. And be with that. So in verse 33, he drives at this point. Earlier, drashta and drishya. Now he says this change. Now if you recollect whatever series we did, this was earlier discussed also. How he is just putting it in a different way, in a different series. So that is he's trying to rewire. Yes, sometimes when you are tying, you tie this way, then 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 you just tie every possible manner. Why? You want to make it see that it is tied properly. So this is what he's trying to do over here. You have to get rid of this anatma bhava. That is the one and only sole purpose of Bhagavan Shankara over here, what he's trying to make us understand. So this vikarahina, free from modification, vikaratvat, body vikara, and vikarahina is the Atma. So and also this I is the illuminator which never changes. So when there is light, yes, that light is constantly there. You like it, you don't like it. At that same level of dispensing that illumination, that continues. So, and this is my experience, and not a mere argument or anything or a philosophy. This I understand fully. So in this way, now here he completes verse 33. Now let's go to verse 34. Just allow, as I told you, allow this knowledge to go in. After several repetitions, just like whatever be the amount of dirt, if you keep continuously washing or continuously rubbing, scrubbing, it has to go at one level. Okay, now 34. Yasmat paramiti shrutya taya purusha lakshanam vinirnitam vimudhena katham syad dehaka puman. Now, dehaka puman, wise men, what are they saying? Yasmat paramiti shrutya. Now, shrutya can be compared, shruti can be compared to the judgments given by the highest courts. Like, whenever you are talking to an advocate, then what do they say? No, don't worry, there are judgments in your favor. In your concept, whatever issue is there, in favor of this concept, there are citations. They call it as citations. These scriptures means the Upanishads, the Shrutis, the Smritis, that way. So what does that say? That which is beyond the body, mind, etc. That meaning, yasmat parama iti shrutya, sorry, taya purusha lakshanam vinirnitam. Now, lakshanam means the characteristics of the true person. Now, here he has introduced the word purusha. Now, purusha comes according to the Sankhya Yoga. So, he is covering up that aspect. Now, this purusha, which is, as we say, Paramatma, Brahman, in Advaita we call it as Brahman, not Brahma. Brahma is the Trimurtis, who is only the creator. No. Above these Trimurtis is that one Paramatma whom we call as Brahman in Advaitic knowledge. So that Purusha, now he says, Vimudhena, by the deluded one, Katham syad dehaka puman iti. How can it be that the person is the body? Person means that Atma. So, putting it together, since the scripture declares that the self is beyond the body and it has clearly defined the true characteristics of the self, how can the deluded person say the person is the body? Don't you understand? The Shruti is saying over here that scriptural authority, it is reinforcing the distinction between the Atman and the Deha. And then it comes out, what are these Shrutis now? Yasmat param na param asti kinchit. There is nothing beyond the self. Meaning whatever you see is that self and self alone. Nitya shuddha buddha muktaha. And najayate namriyate va kadachit. The self is not born, does not die. Now such statements, they define the self as something beyond all matter, beyond all this birth, the death, the change, whatever we are seeing over here. So when the scriptures have already established the Lakshana, means the essential characteristics of the self as eternal, changeless and non-physical, how can a deluded person vimudha, vinarnitam vimudhena? How does a vimudha, ignoring both the direct experience, earlier one, direct experience, now this scriptural truth, in spite of all this, he says the person is the body, meaning that Atma is the body. This is nothing but sheer spiritual ignorance. Sometimes when somebody does something to us, we say, isn't it? This is nothing but sheer arrogance. So it is nothing but sheer spiritual ignorance. Avidya at its peak. Taking the changing to be the changeless and the seen to be the seer. Now he's bringing back all that knowledge. So it is like someone pointing to a mirror's reflection and saying, that is me. Forgetting that the real person is the one seeing the reflection and not the reflection itself. How can you say, if I'm standing in front of a mirror, you cannot say that that is me, this is me, not that. So now Atma is somewhere inside, that consciousness without which you know what is your state. So that direct experience, previous verse and now the scriptural experience in this verse, both confirm that this body is nothing but an object used by that consciousness, but a deluded mind, which the Lord himself has done under the influence of that identification, ahankara, and ignorance, that avidya, what we call, that has confused the two. It has made both of them one and one alone. So this is what yasmat param na param asti kinchit. Shvetashvara Upanishad says this. Yasmat, from which na param, there is nothing greater beyond it. So like as the highest courts, they give a verdict. And whatever is your your case or your logic you're fighting for, now that has already been decided in the higher courts. So you take that and then you present it at whichever level you are and say, oh, this subject has already been discussed at the highest level, so we don't have to think about it much. And the lower courts judge, they just apply those citations. So here is saying, apply these citations. Your direct experience and the scriptural knowledge says, and as he said, mudha and all that earlier, you fool, you can't understand. How can you become your shirt? How can you become your dog? It is your dog, your shirt, your body, your mind. Understand that. That is ignorance. He's again and again saying that is ignorance. Come out of that ignorance and stay put in this knowledge. Now we move to 35. See now, Purusha, he has introduced the term Purusha. Now he is going to talk of the term Purusha. Sarvam Purusha eveti sukte Purusha sangite apyuchate yathashrutya Katham syad dehaka puman. Now he is giving justifications now. Understand, I am not just talking something, okay, I got to say something, I'm saying something. No, that is not my point. I will tell you. So he is saying, Sarvam Purusha eva iti. All is verily the Purusha. As said again, what in the Shruti and Upanishad, Sukte. Now he is taking the hymn from Purusha Sukta. Earlier he took from the scriptures, Shrutis. Now he takes from the Purusha Sukta, meaning even in the hymns also, Purusha Sukta it is said, and in the subsequent verses he will take from the Upanishads. Almost I think 3 shlokas come from directly naming the Upanishad and saying this is said in the Upanishad. That way. And what does he say? Purusha Lakshanam, meaning Purusha Sanyite, meaning under the name of Purusha, in the Purusha Sukta, ityuchate, it is said, referred to as by the Vedas, Shrutya, Katham syad dehaka puman. How could it be that the body and the Atma is one and the same? So in this Vedic hymn, Purusha Suktam, which is in the Rig Veda, the scriptures also describe very clearly. It says that Purusha evedagam sarvam. It's in the Purusha Sukta. It is meaning everything is that Lord and Lord alone. Everything manifest, unmanifest, moving, unmoving, living, non-living, static, dynamic, finite, infinite, destructible, indestructible is nothing but that Purusha alone. Meaning what? There is only one and one. As we said, if you know that ekam advitiyam Brahma, everything is Brahman, you see whatever is told, finally is told about that same thing in a different way. So he says, my dear, not only your direct experience, and not only by the scriptures, now by the hymn also, that Purusha identification, he says, if the scriptures declare that all existence is Purusha, then it makes no sense to limit your self, which is that Atman. You're limiting it to just one body or individual. What greater sin can you do? That Atma which is within you is enveloping the entire universe. Now this is the next level of understanding. This what we are experiencing is the Chetana Shakti, the reflected consciousness. And this Chetana Shakti, which is a direct, which is the source of all our experiences for this Jiva, comes from the Chaitanya Shakti. So how can you limit that Atman which is enveloping the entire universe? So he is deconstructing the false identification, Bhagavan Shankaracharya, false identification with the body by appealing to the authority of the Shruti. He reminds the seeker that the real you is not this person in the body, but the all-pervading Purusha, as declared by the Vedas. What a statement! What an upgrade! One cannot imagine. Whatever is bothering you in life now, you have moved from there. Whatever is troubling you at the level of the body, no, you are not that. Whatever is troubling to you at the level of the mind, you are not that. Then what should trouble you? So when this knowledge goes deep within, logically understand, technically understand by direct experience, understand by the support of the hymns, understand by the support of the Purusha Sukta, and see for yourself that there is something which is lit and something which is experiencing the light and something which is throwing the light. Now in a room, what is happening? There is one light which is throwing now. It's constantly throwing. But the rest of everything else is lit up by that light which is being thrown. So which means what? The light is different and everything else which is lit up is different. They cannot be the same. What we have made everything as one. That is all he is trying to say. What you have understood yourself to be is not that, my dear child. Again and again he is talking about that. So get that straight. And now staying in this knowledge, that is what is important. So he has made it very clear. Everything what you are seeing is nothing but that Purusha, that consciousness alone. Be established in that. How you understand, how you do it is nothing but sheer practice. Like that one simple thing which we did in the initial prayer today. Naham karta, hari karta. Whenever you feel that I am the doer, just substitute it with the consciousness is the doer. Now if you want to do something, let's say with that aham bhava something comes. Tell the unmanifest consciousness, this is a manifest jiva. And in this manifest jiva, this thought has come. So you do whatever you want through this manifest body, mind, senses conglomerate. I am not the doer. Make it, even when you are putting up a request or you're putting up something which has come in your mind. It has come in my mind. I'm an observer of the thought. And you tell the unmanifest, this is what is coming over here. You are this, you are that. That's it. You do whatever you want. That way. But know for a fact that you are not there. Whatever possible manner you can use that knowledge again and again, again and again, again and again. That will take us to where we could go. Okay, now we move on to verse 36. Asanga purusha prokto bruhadaranyake cha anantamala samslishtaha katham syad dehaka puman. Now, here he comes again with the support of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. He quotes Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is one of the largest Upanishads, most prominent and voluminous amongst all the 10 Upanishads, which are, these 10 are considered to be the widely referred or widely adhered, used Upanishads in the sphere of several thousands of Upanishads what we have. So now what he says, samslistaha, it's not a standalone term meaning full of impurities. It sounds like that. Grammatically it comes from the root known as slis, meaning to join, to cling, to adhere. So the prefix samslistaha. So it is closely associated or intimately joined or clung to. So to what? This closely clung, intimately associated, it does not mean full of impurities. Sometimes that kind of a misunderstanding can come. But what is it joined or mixed with? What kind of things? It is mixed with the things like body, mind, and the other thoughts like the doership, enjoyership, kartrutva, bhoktrutva. So hence your understanding points to the effect of samslishtaha, namely that association leads to impurity, limitation and bondage. So to understand overall, this self is declared, the Atman is declared in the Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, to be unattached. He gives asangaha, and being infinite, anantaha, and stainless, amalaha. We say stainless steel. Yes, even these rods what we use for our building, the building pillars, you have seen those rods, that's known as steel. But the vessels which we use for cooking is known as stainless steel. So that steel which is refined to another level, where there are no stains, no impurities, that becomes the stainless steel. And where there are stains, so that is used for construction. So with impurities such as the body, and thus you be the embodied person. So the logic here is that Purusha is asangaha, unattached, anantaha, infinite, amalaha, stainless and pure. How can such a self be samslishtaha, joined to these impurities like this body, mind, ego, kartrutva, bhoktrutva? Therefore, identifying the self, the Atman, with the body, dehaka puman, is false. Dehaka puman is false. It's only being done out of ignorance, avidya. So here the scriptures describe the self as untouched, pure, infinite. How can logically or scripturally, you tell me, how can you even support the idea that it is one with the body? Let's understand in this way. One day, King Janaka, he was, we know he is one of the greatest sadhaks. He asks sage Ashtavakra, who was teaching him, coaching him, his guru, "Oh master, if that Atma is ever pure, infinite and unattached, why do I feel trapped in the body and affected by the world?" See, what a question. What we all, in fact, sometimes we know but we don't know how to ask. See, here it comes. Oh, you are talking that about this Atman, it has got such luxurious and magnificent qualities. But why do I feel that I am trapped in this body and affected by the world? So then Ashtavakra replies. He smiles and then he says, "O king, bring me a clear mirror, a clean mirror." Okay. And then he says, "Okay, just smear it with ash, throw ash on it." The image is a king, there are attendants, several attendants there. Immediately a mirror came there, and then there was ash thrown on that mirror. Now Ashtavakra asks the king, "Oh, king, is the mirror now dirty?" Ashtavakra says, "Yes, it looks dirty, of course." Then he says, "Look closely, O king. Is the mirror itself ever truly touched by the ash, or is it only that the surface appears covered?" See, what a logical question and an incident which is shown to us. Now Janaka Maharaji replies. He says, "Yeah, the mirror, it reflects that impurity. But its true nature, I understand, beneath the ash is unchanged. It is that clean and pristine mirror. Just because of these external dirts which have stuck to it, this self seems to be joined with the body, the mind, and with all the wrong understandings, ignorance. What has happened? It is looking dirty, but it is never really affected. You clean it off, it goes away. So this self is like the mirror," Ashtavakra finally says. "It only appears to be impure when that ignorance covers it up. With that, ignorance is the ashes. So, but in truth, it is always amalaha, stainless, asanga, unattached, and anantaha, infinite." How can we do this? When we move forward in the stages of our spiritual practice, as we rise higher and higher, meaning you are cleaning the mirror. There's so much of dust and dirt and ash on it. You're cleaning it, washing it, rubbing it, polishing it, and then you will get the true nature. And that is done by Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. And when you reach the stage of Samadhi, where is all this dirt and impurities coming? From the body, from the mind. So once you clean that, when you cross over this body mind, then what happens? You get established in your true self. And another example, if I can give you, imagine there is a clear, infinite, blue, vast sky. Okay, and suddenly you see that from somewhere, some industry or some forest fire, thick black smoke is coming from deep somewhere. Now that smoke, it spreads across the sky. You're seeing such a pristine blue sky and this dark smoke. And someone says, "Oh no, this sky has become polluted and dirty." But then a wise person corrects. He says this sky is never truly touched. The smoke, it floats in that space, but it doesn't stain or cling to the sky in its true self. So when the smoke disappears by that wind, the sky remains just as pure as it was before. So this self, the Atman, is like that sky, vast, pure, untouched. So the body, the ego, the impurities, pain, all these are like that smoke. Constantly, we are seeing so many things happening. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Constantly these 6 things are hitting us. So to say the self is joined to them, samslishtaha, is a mistake born of illusion. So the right knowledge, gnana, reveals that the self was never bound. So here this verse 36, it is urging us to disidentify from that smoke. You are the sky. And the smoke is nothing but this body, mind, ego complex. Recognize your true nature as that sky, as that unbound sky, ever free, ever pure, ever unattached. And live with that thought. All whatever is coming forward, don't go by it. Sometime as knowledge comes in, everything will be driven away. Just like as wind comes, the smoke disperses. So in that way, we have to understand, no, these two are separate things. Now they have become one, and with knowledge I have to drive it out. So this is the way where each and everything, asango hi ayam purushaha. So the purusha is unattached. So as you see, this, they're talking here about the subtle body, like the dreamer. As soon as the dream is ended, it goes to deep sleep, let's say. Now that same purusha with the same jiva, it goes to the deep sleep state. And then suddenly you see that the waking state comes in. So in all these states, be it the dream, be it the deep sleep or the waking, consciousness is a constant factor which is illumining these three states. But at different levels, different compositions of the body or this jiva are working. Now, in a waking state, you have the mind, you have the body, you have the senses. What happens when you go to a dream state? You only have the mind. You don't have the body nor the senses. You've forgotten both of these. And when you go to the next level, the deep sleep state, you don't even have the mind. All the three are gone. It is just that consciousness and consciousness alone. So these are nothing but apparatus. As you take things, when you go to a particular place, sometimes let's say you have a book, you have a pen and a mobile. Now, next stage, you don't need a book and a pen, you just carry your mobile. And then you go somewhere else, you say, no, I don't want the mobile also. You have left all the three behind. But you are the one who is going, isn't it? And these three were instruments. So in the same way, now this body, mind and the senses are nothing but instruments which the consciousness is using. So Purusha is not conditioned, meaning that consciousness is not conditioned by these equipments. It is immaculate, pure, and without any vasanas or any dirt. That is what is being explained over here. So these examples, you should take this and understand. Just like I use different apparatus, instruments, or during various apps in my mobile to access different information. Now if I want to travel, I take a travel app. If I want to see a panchang, I take another app. Then if I want to do some meditation, I take another app. If I want to listen to some music, I take another app. So these are all apps based on the purposes. But I am not the app. I use the apps. So in the same way, I use the body, I use the mind, I use the senses. I am not it. This ignorance has to be driven. With that constant association, we are stuck with that. Okay, now we come to verse 37. Tatraiva cha samakhyataha swayajyotirhi purushaha jadha paraprakashoyam Katham syad dehaka puman. Now, here again, once again now, in the same Upanishad, it says that the Purusha is by nature ever effulgent. Is using that with just to give us that affirmative sense. Tatraivacha. That is tatraivacha. Tatra evacha is tatraivacha. So there itself also, that is in the same scripture as previously referred to, the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, samakhyataha, it is explicitly said and declared clearly, Swayam Jyotihi Purushaha, the self or that Atma, which is also called as Purusha, is self-luminous. It doesn't need another light. to show itself. It is that self-revealing consciousness. Jadaha, inert, insentient. Paraprakashaha cha, illuminated by another, does not shine by itself. So, yam katham syad. How can it be that entity, dehaka puman, that embodied person, this body, mind, senses which we are talking, how can it be that Atma? So, here again, there itself in the scripture, it is clearly stated that this self-Purusha is self-luminous, the body is inert and illumined by something else. This is that it is illumined by the Purusha. So how can that the one which is being illumined and that which is inert, that which is illumining and which is inert, how can it be one and the same? Now I have a lamp in my room, let's say, and there is some object in the room. Let's say there is a flask, and that I switch on the light, so the light illumines the flask. Otherwise you can't see where the flask is. It doesn't have its own light. It needs light to be seen. So how can the light and the flask be the same? So how can that your body, unless and until there is this jiva in it, prana in it, it cannot function. So how can the prana and this deha be the same? Very simple to understand. Prana is different, deha is different. So now he talks about the sukshma sharira. So far it is the body. Now he attacks the sukshma sharira. So in this way, Bhagavan Shankaracharya is now bringing this again, that argument against identifying with the body. Don't do this mistake. So he uses direct knowledge, logic, Shruti logic or support. Then he uses the Upanishadic knowledge, and this way he says I is not the body, meaning Atman is not the body, but that light of awareness that reveals this body, that is your true self. This is how it is. So everything in that light, we can see so many objects in the room. So understand that body is known only in the light of that self, consciousness self. It cannot be the self because it is dependent, non-luminous and unaware of itself. Now what are the qualities of the Atma? Exactly same. It is never dependent. It is not non-luminous, but it is luminous. And it is not unaware of itself. It is very nature is awareness. So how can these two become one? Katham syad dehaka puman. How can you make these two one? So now it's another powerful blow to that false identification which we have with our body. So this way, Bhagavan Shankaracharya is pointing out, know that which is known, that which is the body. I know this body. I can see it. I can touch it. I can smell it. I can even taste it. So this body cannot be the knower, which is the Atma or the self. Now when we say knower, we say me as an aham bhava, I say, not that. Always whenever I comes, drive that I out and put the Atma over there. Substitute. You will be doing wonders. So that which needs light cannot be light itself. So you are that self-luminous, pure awareness, and not this inert, perishable body. So here, now up to this 37, now this series 4 is completed from 31 to 37. Okay, so we'll take this verse 38 in the next class. Okay, so we'll once again revise all these together, and then we'll see how he builds up this topic further. Our only understanding is this small changes what we need to make. Wherever I comes, substitute with the Paramatma or that consciousness or that Purusha, what new terms we have learnt, whatever suits you, you take that. But ensure that so-called rascal, we can say, that I does not come into the frame. Okay? Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Idam Namama. Om Tat Sat. I can see that many are finding it uncomfortable to stay on because of the buffering. Can you all just mention where all it is, to who all it is okay and to whom all it is not okay, please, so that I'll try to see demographically, is it because of the provider, internet provider, or because of the system. Whatever we need to do with the system, we have done that. We are finding it difficult, and yesterday we had a beautiful session. Not a single second, I think there was no buffering at all yesterday. Okay, now just please post your comments. That will help me in talking to the technician and getting a decent way forward. Okay, come. Now we take up the verse number 49, Vishnu Sahasranama. Suvratas sumukas sukshmaha sugoshas sukadas surd manoharo jitakrodo virabahur vidaranaha. Jitakrodaha, 462. We are doing 462 and 463. One who has conquered anger. By the one term here, anger, we should consider all the inner 6 enemies, that is the shyasadrupos, which we talk about saying kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. These 6 constitute the types of thoughts in a man, the 6 categories into which all his mental activities fall. So one who has conquered all these shyasadrupos is one very vital aspect in terms of moving towards the state of samadhi. So don't have kama.